back to Safa's Unscripted. We are back with the URC. Obviously, we spoke a bit about the Six Nations, but in our opinions, the big tournament is back. The URC, no disrespect to the Six Nations, but this is the one that we're excited for because we see our own players. Welcome back, Brett Burns, Bria van Herbst, and Casual Bias coming back at you. The three of that started the whole thing. Episode number 38, boys. It's been a beautiful journey, but let's not beat around the bush. Let's jump straight into it. We're starting off with Scarlets, Munster. Obviously, Munster not having all of their strong players, but do we see an upset happening for the Scarlets to take this one, or Munster just another smashing victory?
I think it's going to be closer than we anticipate. Although not a lot of people know because it wasn't really broadcasted. But Munster beat the Crusaders not too long ago. So I think that's going to be a similar team that took on the Crusaders that's going to play against Scarlets. So I think it's going to be a clear win for Munster, but it's not going to be as set in stone and clear cut as we think.
Yeah, literally, I 100% agree. I think it will be it's a Friday night. It's a obviously Scarlets aren't the be all and end all of the URC, but I think they'll put up a fight against Munster. But I just think Munster will edge it towards the end. The experience will get them over the line, and yeah, I can see about a 7-point win from Munster. Nothing fancy, but just grinding and getting it over the line.
Well, to be fair, I think Munster smashes the Scarlets just because they beat the Crusaders as well. It's going to be probably the same team as Brett mentioned. There is, of course, an asterisk behind the victory that they got over the Crusaders. The Crusaders not playing their full-strength team necessarily. It's their first game under a new coach, start of the season. So obviously they're still a bit rusty and stuff. But I think it's a dominant victory for Munster. I don't think it will be too tough. Let's not act like the Scarlets, even at home, is this wonderful team that's supposed to cause upsets. Okay, moving on to the second game, and I personally think this one might be closer than the Scarlets Munster game, just because Edinburgh has so many Scottish players. It's Zebre versus Edinburgh. Zebre playing at home. That could be an exciting game, like a high scoring game.
I'm going for the upset here. I thought about it when I saw the fixtures for the first time. I think Zebre is gonna edge this game by like 1 or 2 points, like close game. Yes, you obviously by now we know I like the upset call, but I think this one's more realistic than my previous calls on upsets, and I think Zebre has this one.
Yeah, again, I'm agreeing because that Edinburgh side is so reliant on their Scottish players. And like you said, a load of those Scottish players are playing in Scotland, obviously, or playing for Scotland in the Six Nations. So Zebre just need to get their tails up, be fired up for this game, bring the physicality, show that you want it, show your passion. And I generally think that they can pull it off by a couple points. But with that being said, I'm going to go with the safe call because I see where you're coming from, but I'm going to go with the safe call because I just think Edinburgh is having such a good season so far that they won't want to blow it. So I'm going to go Edinburgh, but also a very narrow win by 4 or 5 points.
Yeah, I tend to agree more on this one with Brevan. Just because I don't watch too much of Zebre. I do think they're an exciting team to watch this season, especially. You can't even. There's no comparison between how they're playing this season and how they were last season. But the thing is, I'm not too sure how many Italian players they also have that's playing in for Italy at the moment in the Six Nations. But I just think Edinburgh overall just a bit too strong for Zebre. But then, Zebre got the victory over the Sharks. But anyone can beat the Sharks at the moment. But let's not talk too quickly because the Sharks pulled us pretty close, the Stormers, a couple of weeks ago. But anyway, moving on to these are the South African rivalries. This is what this podcast episode is actually built around. So we got the Lions versus the Bulls rematch. And no, it's not at Loftus this time. It's at Ellis Park. What are we thinking?
I'm going to let Brevan go first because this game is very, near and dear to his heart because he's a bit of an undercover Lions fan, but he's a diehard Bulls fan. So take us away, Mr. Brevin.
Yeah. Look, I have a massive amount of respect for the Lions. I always have. I've never seen them as like a. Obviously, they are the Bulls' rivals, but I've always, I don't know. Obviously, one of my favorite players of all time is Malcolm Marx, and obviously that's where Malcolm Marx made his name. And I've always just had this, like this undercover, like Brett says, love for the Lions. Like I appreciate them. And they're finding form in this URC season, which I'm really grateful for because I want to see all four South African teams up there. I am nervous. I can't lie. I'm very nervous. Obviously, Kanan is back. Kirtley is back, so that's a positive for the Bulls. But at the same time, like we need to use them correctly against the Lions. If we don't, like we can be punished. So look, the Lions are going to put up another fight. I think it's going to be another nail biter. I'm probably going to be swearing at my TV again. And I think the Bulls will edge it, and I think they'll edge it again. And I'm going to say by 3 points. It is going to be a battle of a physical battle. I'm sure the Lions are going to be up for it. We saw them dominate the Bulls in some scrums as well, which is a shock because the Bulls are usually strong in the scrums. So yeah, I'm actually very nervous, but I'm going to back the team and say Bulls by 3.
Yeah, I'm going the other way, and I'm going to say that the Lions are going to win this game by 10 points.
Wow.
Yes, I think that it's going to be very close, but towards the end, I think the Lions are going to be leading by about 3 or 4 points, and they should. And then, in my mind, as I'm playing it out, they're going to get a little bit of a consolation try at the end,
Just to secure it.
just to secure it, and it's going to be 10 points. The score won't reflect the game, but I think it's going to be a double figure victory for the Lions.
I love that prediction, Brett. It would make me so happy to hear that. I mean, some of the most joyous moments as South Africans and Stormers supporters is seeing England lose, beating England, playing the All Blacks, and seeing the Bulls lose. It is it's my favorite thing in the world, right? And what the Lions did to the Bulls at Loftus should be more than enough if they're playing at Ellis Park. Surely they get that over the line. It's a rivalry, it's a rematch. I think that close loss for the Lions just brings out a bit of hunger for them. I'm also predicting the Lions to win it. And as Brevin said, it like the soft spot for the Lions, right? It's this weird thing, like there's always rivalry between the Stormers, the Bulls, and mostly the Sharks. Obviously not this season. But everyone in South Africa has this soft spot for the Lions and even more the Cheetahs.
Yeah.
Don't you guys find that odd? Is it just like a team that we all come together and support? The Lions, we just love seeing the Lions do well because remember when it was the Super Rugby, they were like the only South African team that were really performing well. So everyone just got behind the Lions to do well.
The thing is, everybody likes the underdog story. And for the longest time that I can remember, the Lions and the Cats and all those teams were the weaker. They were always known as the weaker side in South Africa. Even when they came into Super Rugby finals, I didn't think that they were the favorites to win the Super Rugby, and that showed at the end. And that's I think what the whole of South Africa is going through. They know that they have that soft spot because of the underdog story.
Yeah. So you guys make complete sense in the fact that the performance from the Lions will. If they do that again, they have a massive, massive shot at winning this game. And I'm sure that narrow loss will motivate them to be even better. But at the same time, I think the Bulls will try and take some motivation from that game as well, in the sense that they know that they can do better. Hopefully that they can translate it into a performance. So that's where it's going to become spicy because both teams know this isn't going to be easy. This is going to be a proper Yuckskate derby, like it's massive. And also, like obviously just news for the viewers watching, recently just come out. Well, there's 2 pieces, but the next one's for the Sharks Stormers game that we'll chat about. But Spoo and Corsi, obviously being released from the Bulls, has been given a shot at the Cheetahs for Currie Cup. Just quick thoughts on that, guys. I literally just saw it before we hopped on. And yeah, Spoon Course, he's been given another shot at one of the unions.
I hope Brett isn't hypocritical because of what he said about the Yankee. If you screw up in any form, like second chances, yeah, but this isn't his second chance. This isn't the first time that we have to deal with behavior. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but he doesn't deserve me to talk about him. I think he's living half of the world's dream, and he's just stuffing it up. So no.
Yeah. There's people that would die to be in that position, and it kind of feels like he's taking it for granted a bit.
100%.
That's just the plain and simple way to say it. Moving on, before we get to the Sharks and Stormers game, there's one game before that. We got Leinster versus Benetton. My apologies, people. We actually had a graphic, and I forgot about the graphic. But we actually have Leinster versus Benetton up next. Do we see Benetton putting up a fight? Probably most of their team is playing for Italy. Leinster, known for squad depth. They'll probably just field still a strong team and blow Benetton out of the water.
Yeah, if we're gonna go on anything, I think that these are the two teams in the URC that currently have the best structure in play. Like I've seen with Benetton, even if they're rotating their squad through, whether it's through injury or through just normal squad rotation, they are still set in their ways and they're still doing their job very well. And obviously, we know that Leinster does exactly the same. So I think this for me is going to be the game of the weekend. This is the one I'm looking forward to the most. So yeah, I think Leinster will still pull through and win it at the end, but it's going to be a nail biting game. I think this is one to look forward to.
Yeah. So, obviously, like you said, Benetton, for that matter, have been, they're probably one of the favorites to even go and win the Challenge Cup. So that's kudos to them. They're obviously doing their thing in the URC as well. But then you have Leinster, who are obviously going to come into the game as favorites, regardless if they have a weaker side because of the Irish, obviously, at the Six Nations. So I agree. I think both teams are going to come out. They're going to want to play their brand of rugby. They're going to want to, show the other team that they are better than the other. And yeah, I think it's going to be closer than we expect, but I just sense Leinster will run away with it in the last 20 minutes. So I see Benetton putting up a fight for that first 60, but then Leinster kind of just stepping it up because, they have that experience in the sense that those types of players, that their second string players, have traveled to the likes of South Africa and they've experienced a whooping from the Bulls, which obviously was a weaker side. They've beaten the Lions with that weaker side last season, and the side has seen playoff games here and there. So I think Leinster will run away with it in the last 20.
Yeah, I think Leinster cruises home on this one. I think their guys will still be up for it to play. Just because it's the Six Nations as well, like they want to solidify a spot in that starting 15. That's just my opinion. But then, Brett, you said you're looking forward to this game the most, right? Well, yes. It's too bad you can't look at it live because it's the Stormers versus the Sharks at the same time. My, oh my, we are smashing them. We're going to the Sharks field and we are beating them from start to finish. No mercy.
Yeah.
So I was expecting a whole lot more backlash than I just received now. So, okay, you need to pick up your...
It wasn't backlash. I was just telling you, you can't be looking forward to them that you can't see live.
I was expecting you to say, how can you say something like that when your team is playing at the same time? That's not what a true Stormer supporter would do. Anyway. No,
because I know you're a true Stormer supporter. I was just giving you the facts, the fact of the matter.
Okay, yes. But fortunately for me, I have a TV and I have another TV and I have an iPad and I have a phone, so I can watch both at the same
Brett,
time.
you're clearly not a good enough supporter if you don't focus with both eyes on the same game permanently.
Yeah, true.
No distractions.
Yeah. reason why I can afford to watch both games at the same time is because I don't think the Sharks are going to add any value to my life by trying to play rugby when they haven't been trying to play rugby the whole season. And just because I said that, they're probably going to beat the Stormers. But no, I'm looking forward to this game obviously as well, and I'm going to call Stormers by 12.
Yeah, so this is the other piece of news I literally just saw before we hopped on. You guys will be, or South African fans, as a Springbok fan, I'm actually quite devastated because I hope it's a quick recovery. But Ibn Etzebeth is out. He just had a knee op. He won't be playing for the Sharks. So that's massive for the Sharks. That's their best player who has put his hand up this season for the Sharks, I must admit. And he's gone. So where do the Sharks look now? Where do they look for this inspiration? Obviously, you have Lucanio, but where do you look now? I mean, so many injuries for the Sharks, and their best players now had a knee op. So I see this going one way: Stormers to win by 15, and I just see the Stormers having fun with it out there. I think the Stormers are really good, and yeah.
I saw today on Twitter that Andre Janssen van Rensburg has signed a contract in Japan. So is that for the rest of the season? Because he's also signed with Union Bordeaux in 2025. So is this just like a loan almost for the rest of the season? Because then they're without him as well.
It's Ruan, not Andre. And secondly,
sorry.
Yeah, but
wow.
But also, I think that he knows, like I've been saying this the whole season, that he's one of their worst players, can't catch a ball. I think this is one thing that I like to say, it's a cop-out. And I think he's running away. He's not trying to fix his problem because he knows the whole country is booing him because every time he touches the ball, he drops it. And this is his way out. And we've just been hit by a massive thunderstorm.
Yeah, my apologies. I know it's Ruan Janssen van Rensburg, but for some reason I said Andre because I was thinking of Andre Estresen. Yeah. Now, it's a weird thing, Brett, because like a while ago, like we always talked about Ruan being one of the best inside centers a couple of years ago. Like he had so much talent when he played at the Lions, right? And he was absolutely brilliant. And then he moved overseas and he came back and there was a lot of hype around it because now you have Damien Dialinde, you have Andre Estresen and Ruan Janssen van Rensburg all fighting for that 12th position for the box. It just feels like a massive drop-off. And I don't mean this disrespectful because obviously he has this crazy story of what's happened. But it's almost shocking to see, right?
Yeah, no, it is shocking to see. And if you do hear rolls in the background, Joburg has yet again been hit by a thunderstorm. So we do apologize. But look, at the end of the day, I think like to cap this game off, the Stormers are just going to cruise it. And look, like as Brett said with Rowan Janssen van Rensburg, sorry, I'm English, so I go Rowan. I could be completely wrong. Rowan, sorry, I apologize. But I just think that he was one of my favorite players when he was at the Lions, and Mr. Burns has left us for 2 seconds, but there he is.
Half a chair.
But yeah, I think he had so much talent. Obviously, he then went to Sale, if I'm not mistaken. Then came back to the Sharks, or not back, but to the Sharks, and he just hasn't lived up to expectations. Maybe this is for a more financial reason. It could be, like Brett said, to run away from his problems type thing. And yeah, it's a shame to see because I really rated him, but I wish him all the best on his future.
Moving on to the final 3 games, we'll most likely just fly through it. It's no real big games, to be honest. We got Cardiff versus Connacht, whatever. I actually fancy the upset victory on this one as well. I don't know what about it. Cardiff playing at home, I think they'll be up for it. Could we see an upset victory, Brett?
Yeah, I do, because I think that Mr. Tinus de Beer, I think this Oak, he's got his shot now. This Oak, he wants to play international rugby. He's at his new home now. I think that I honestly think that they're going to beat Connacht. quite convincingly, to be honest. That's all
Yeah,
I have to say.
So yeah, it is a difficult one because I feel like Connacht kind of rely a lot on their Irish players, and they only have a few. And obviously they're missing, like we've been saying, it's a repetitive theme because of the Six Nations. So Cardiff have a real chance here, and obviously with Tennis de Beer there to lead the back line, that's also a massive bonus for them. So I don't see them steamrolling the game, but I do see Cardiff pulling this one off just, I'd say, but between 4 to 6 points, somewhere in that range.
I've got a quick question before we move on to the next game, right? If you were a Sharks fan, would you have gone with Hendrickse in that 10 jersey that they've just bought, or would you have gone with the likes of Tinus de Beer? Would you have liked that backing?
Tennis
Which
de
one
Beer,
of the two would you go?
1000%. Tennis de Beer.
Yeah, I'd also go for the beer, but also I'm very excited to see the two brothers together. I think that's going to be very exciting. I think that was also, shall I say, a selling point for him to go to the Sharks. Like, Butti, protect me.
Could be. Moving on to the final two games, we have Glasgow Warriors versus the Dragons. I think this is a runaway victory for Glasgow. They've been scintillating this season. They've been scintillating last season. Somewhere last season just felt like it absolutely clicked for them. Got a couple of massive victories. And yeah, the Dragons' best players play for Wales at the moment. So I think this is a smashing victory for Glasgow. Glasgow by at least 30 points.
I completely agree. I don't have anything to add to that. I think you said literally what I was thinking. Nothing to add there.
Yeah, sorry, we're literally pressing mute here like nobody's business. But yeah, I know Glasgow are going to win
the
this
weather,
one.
boys. Cape Town's got the weather.
We know, we've just been there because we Cape Town 10 champs, baby. No, I just had to say that. Yeah, I know the lightning's bad. It's coming to us as well because obviously Mr. Burns and I stay about 10 minutes away from each other, so I'm sure I'm getting the next part of the storm. But yeah, look, Glasgow's going to storm it. I think they'll win it comfortably. I can't really give an amount that they'll win by, but it will be comfortable. And I'm sure that Jack Russell could play hooker for Glasgow, and they'd still cruise it. So yeah, definitely Glasgow.
Yeah, well, while it's storming out there, it's a lovely little 22 degrees out here in Cape Town, people. If you come to South Africa, you come to Cape Town. We've always said it. No, Brett, you can't talk. Don't unmute. We're going on to the final game, and it's the Ospreys versus Ulster. And I think it's rinse and repeat from what I said in the previous one. I see Ulster just smashing the Ospreys. Ospreys, once again, their best players out there for Wales. Ulster have been looking a bit better. I think Kitsoff, man of the match performance. There you go. Written in the stars, done and dusted, smashing victory.
Yeah, I think also, I don't think it's going to be a runaway victory though. I think Ulster's got this, but with less than 8 points. Eight being the max.
Are you predicting the weather to be the same as it is there? Because then the game's always close.
Pretty much, yes. I honestly don't see it as a big win because Ulster's had like what the French are known for. They have an up and down season, so it's too unpredictable for me to call.
Yeah, so Ulster, obviously, I think they'll win this game. And also, I don't think it will be a runaway victory in that sense, but I think Ulster will hold a comfortable lead throughout the game, kind of thing. And what I mean by comfortable is, I mean probably between 10 to 12 points. And I don't see them running any further than that. Hopefully, Ospreys can put up a bit of a game. Hopefully, they can give Ulster something to work from. But Ulster as well, not been their greatest season so far. Obviously, they've had ups and downs, like Brett said. So, yeah, I mean, Ulster should win this game. But will they? I think so, but we'll see.
Okay, people, that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you very much, Brett and Brevan, but especially to Brett for just muting his mic and being considerate to the rest of the people. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. Please remember to like and subscribe. If you've come this far, we have a very, very, very exciting episode coming for you this Friday, right? With our all-time top 10 forwards. And we've put it as a poll. We've got other people involved. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you very much. 38 episodes done and dusted. Crazy. Thank you very much. See you next time.